What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of StoryHive On Location Vancouver with beats, eats, and more! I am your host, Kazi. We are broadcasting live on the unceded ancestral lands of the Musqueam, the Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish First Nations. Utmost love and respect to the original stewards and protectors of these lands, these waters. Also, big shout outs to TELUS STORYHIVE for powering today's episode. I am so excited for this next guest. This is 121, of our live stream interviews over the course of 4 seasons. And we have a multidisciplinary performer rooted in movement, expression, and community care. Lola Loops, also known as Nancy, began her journey with a single hoop, exploring spiral movement that grew into wide-ranging practice spanning street and contemporary dance, ritual theatrics, soft acrobatics, stilt dance, and clowning. As the founder of Lola Loops Entertainment, she works across performance, production, and talent booking while actively advocating for accessibility, representation, and safer creative spaces within the circus arts community. You may or may not recognize her as she's always changing her looks, but Lola Loops has performed on many stages and streets, from Base Coast to local city festivals. I'm so excited to have this reunion and cute convo with one of one Lola Loops.
Oh my God, that intro. Thank you.
Right? I had to make sure you felt special because you are.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Well, I want to start with your early origins and beginnings.
Oh, okay.
I'd love to know about the first time you picked up a hoop and at what point you knew you weren't going to put it down.
Oh, what a fun trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
I would say, as a lot of prop spinners go, festivals. I went to my first music festival here on the West Coast, and I saw someone hula hooping, and I was like amazed and in awe. I was like, oh my gosh, like, how is she doing this? I don't even know who it was. I just saw someone. And then I decided to spin poi. So I didn't even start with hula hoop. I started with poi.
Poi again is?
Poi is when there are 2 balls on 2 strings and you spin it. It comes from different traditions in New Zealand as well. But that's what I started off with. And I found it really hard. And I kept smacking myself in the head with it. And then I was like, this is actually harder than I thought. And then I was going to a picnic, and I saw someone on Craigslist selling hula hoops out of her van for $25 on Craigslist. Yeah. So I messaged her and got a hula hoop and then started hula hooping and went, wow, this is so much fun. Wow. Yeah. And it was just making me happy. And then I just kept doing it over and over again. And then I had someone just kind of like pull me aside, be like, oh my God, you look like you're having so much fun. And I went, oh my God, I am. I'm having fun while I do this. And then someone was like, oh, well, would you want to do this and maybe get paid? And I went, wait a second, someone's going to pay me to do this?
Like have fun and play?
Have fun and play and get paid? I was like, okay, let's go. And that was pretty much it. And then I just haven't stopped since.
How long ago was this?
2011 is when I started. Yeah, and then from there kind of stemmed like community and meeting my hoop mentor, Ali Hoop, which was the organizer and producer of Circus Fest. And
shout outs to Ali Hoop.
Right, and that's how we all kind of came together. And that's how the community of like circus and underground circus and studios and just like learning from people and community kind of just started. And then I couldn't stop because it was meeting the people, learning the tricks, but then also like learning the feeling that it gives you. The feeling of like happiness and accomplishment when you work really hard for something and then you get that kind of mind-body connection and endorphins. You know, working out, moving your body, it all like makes those little happy chemicals happen. And it just kind of all connected. And that's when I just kind of realized, oh, if I keep doing all these little happy bits will kind of keep happening into my life. And it has, from meeting different people, from getting to experience traveling in different places through hula hooping. It's like a dream. I'm like, wow, am I still doing this? And having so much fun. And then getting to meet all these people in many different degrees of separation is really, really cool.
Had you tapped in like when you were a kid before with hula hooping?
No.
Or did you have a previous movement practice?
Not really. I actually came from the sports world.
Really?
Yeah, I grew up playing rugby.
What?
Yeah.
Yo, you're hardcore. You're hardcore.
So I actually had no like movement background growing up. I played the oboe in band and I played rugby. And basically that whole community of like women sticking together and literally having your back in a rugby game is kind of what connected me with circus, of like, oh, community members, people having your back, people teaching you things and just like cheering you on. And that was kind of like the same thing as in sports. And so when I moved out west and realized I couldn't play sports anymore because if I get hurt, what else do I do?
Yeah.
Right? When you move away from home and you don't have a lot of like people you can lean on when you first move away. So I really had to decide, do I keep playing sports or do I go a different direction? And then hula hoops and circus came into my life, the perfect time.
Where did you grow up?
I actually grew up in St. Catharines, Ontario. So the southern part of Ontario there. And I grew up there, went to school there, and then I moved out west when I finished college.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what brought you out here?
The mountains. So I have a background in tourism and event management.
That's right.
Yeah, and I did my co-op placement out west, and I did that for like 6 to 8 months, went back home and realized, wow, I think there's a little bit more out in the world than here. And then I moved out west and haven't looked back since.
I love how you talked about how it just started with a single hoop and a spiral. And then it got me all like philosophical thinking about, what do you think the spiral movement represents for you in this life?
I would say like keep going, like the spiral movement of just like the beginning and the end kind of all attaching to each other. And when you're hula hooping, it's either you're spinning or the hula hoop is spinning around you. And that's what I really like to play with as well, is the spirals of getting in the hoop or the spirals on the outside of the hoop. And I think that's where, when doing circus, I realized my mind and body connection of like, oh, I can feel my body move a certain way and then make it move a certain way, and then it will. So then it was this connection that I didn't have growing up, just even though like you have mind-body connection within sports, but this was a little bit different. And that's when I started unlocking different avenues of movement. And when I got into more like contemporary and street dance movements and realizing that it's all connected. And that each movement of your body is connected to the next, and then it spirals into the next thing as per the spiraling hula hoop.
Was there a significant experience or show that had an impact on you and you knew you wanted circus to continue being part of your world?
I don't know if there was a specific like show or specific like place, but I think it was when I started building acts. When I realized, oh, this could be a thing, or when I started really just putting my own kind of spin on things and really connecting it with like a story I wanted to tell personally. Yeah, and then people enjoying it. Like that was when I really thought of, wow, like this is making people think, either like happy or sad, or just, people are like the positive reinforcement and like all these things that people are saying, realizing that, oh, my story does have a place in this world, and like maybe people resonate with it, or maybe people don't. And it was just really nice to find those connections after I would speak to people, either after a show or after a time that they've seen me. And that's kind of what has kept me going and kept me really wanting to continue performing, is when I found those little bits and pieces in the beginning, and then like really realizing like, oh, okay, this could be a thing.
So both of us work in forms that often get reduced to spectacle before people understand the artistry behind them. From your perspective, how do you define circus as an art form?
Oh, that's a really good question.
You know what I mean? Because within street dance and club dance, that's what people see. It's like entertainment and spectacle, and they don't really understand or have seen it presented in a way that this is an art form.
I would say like those small connective moments with either the audience or the person. Because anything you do could be a spectacle, and like some of the work that I do is spectacle work when it comes to like roving, and roving is where you kind of go out for short periods of time and you are that spectacle. To stage shows where you're a spectacle, but it's a spectacle with a bit of an extra added story and emotion to it. And I think for me, the difference would be those intimate connections that you have with audience members. So you can be a spectacle roving, but then connecting with them by the eye contact or the smile, I think is what's the difference between just being a spectacle and being able to create this whole like little universe that you bring people into.
Yeah. I think especially on the being able to tell stories through your acts, like it becomes that point of reflection for people to see themselves in it. You know, and how you're saying it's that point of connection with others, like that they wouldn't even realize they needed that moment. You know? And I think there's so much profound depth in that people wouldn't even realize, like, that is art, that is artful.
And even the connective moments where you would say, like, when you're doing circus tricks, you don't get the trick or you don't get the full movement or what you were trying to achieve. There was one time that I had someone come up to me after I knew that I messed up. I missed my trick, but they came up to me and enjoyed that I messed up because it brought some uniqueness and some like reality and life to it, being like, oh yeah, we watch you and you're so perfect and you do all these things, but the moment you don't catch it, we're like, oh yeah, you're human like all of us. And so even those moments where you're like, oh my God, I screwed up, like it was awful, hope no one noticed. And when they do notice, but then notice on this like really positive way, that moment just made me feel like, oh wow, okay, even in my screw ups, there are those moments of connecting with someone who are realizing that, oh, we're all just humans doing this thing.
At what point did you pick up stilt dance?
Oh, wow.
Because when we met, you were just hooping at the time.
Yeah.
And then, your practice has evolved to so many other forms.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because stilts and stilt dance especially has like come into my life in such an interesting way and kind of like a whirlwind in wanting to like grow, which is stilt, you grow taller. But it actually came in more of like a political thing for me. Someone I used to know mentioned that, there weren't a lot of POC stilters in town and that's why they can't get booked. And at that point, I was very like, oh, well, you're not looking hard enough. Maybe there are POC stilters out there just aren't getting the same accessibility needs met. Doing circus is not necessarily affordable depending on the apparatus that you go on. And, stilts, you either have to make them or you have to buy them. And so you either have to know the knowledge in making them or have the accessibility in funds to purchase stilts. And so at that point, I was like, oh, okay, so that's everybody's issue, that they just can't find a person of color to do it, or even create an opportunity that these people of color will come out and say, I also do these things. So it was kind of a little bit of a political, like, well, I'm going to do it then. And then there'll be no excuse. There'll be no excuse for producers and people out there to be like, oh, well, we couldn't because there just wasn't.
Right.
Because that's, a lot of people's MO. And so it's like, well, no, now there is more than that. And I think the stilt community here now is also looking at making it accessible. There's stilt jams happening in town now that are making it accessible for people to come out and experience stilts in whatever level, and having stilts available in accessibility to do it. So, yeah.
I'd love to hear more about how you train and what your movement practice looks like today. And how has it changed from your younger years as our bodies evolve?
Oh, wow, great question. That's great. What do you mean? My body's exactly the same how it used to be.
Exactly.
Exactly the same. Well,
we drink elixirs. That's what's happening.
Yeah, it's the lemon ginger tea, right?
Yeah.
Well, I would say, with time and like when I was younger, I had more time to do more training in like bigger chunks, I would say. So now in juggling, 5 million jobs that we have in this city to survive, I've really had to be specific in my pockets of training in like, what really helps is having something come up when you're training for like the next thing. So as long as I have a couple of those things kind of in my basket or in my hat, I'm like, okay, that makes me want to train. Being able to have like accessibility to space. There are a few circus schools in town that have great like open jam and open gym times that are really good to train at. But a lot of it is also balancing that with functional fitness and training, so then you can do it forever. Because for me, I don't want to do it for now or for the next 10, 20 years. I want to be able to do it forever. There's going to be a market for old lady circus, and I'm here for it.
Yes.
Right?
That's right.
There's got to be a market for that soon. So when that happens, I'm here and I'm ready. But yeah, I think it's just really just focusing on like everything connecting. So like, you know, listen when your body is tired and don't like push through, or like really listening to those parts, because it does take a little bit longer to heal certain things.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of like listening more to yourself rather than pushing through when you're younger and be like, I'm fine. Oh, I'm fine. I can do this. And then you realize afterwards like, oh, not so fine.
Do you recall any specific moments that you feel were such a big learning lesson for you through performance specifically?
I think all my performance are a big learning lesson, and I sometimes learn different things every time. Sometimes I learn that I'm a professional and I got this. And then sometimes I learn, ooh, I should have worked on that a little bit more. So there's a balance in that.
Yeah.
But each and every time I kind of get this sense of just like this sense of like happiness of us, like I'm able to tell a story, just any story, like I'm able to like hold space for people to actually want to hear or see what I have to say. And I think like being able to hold a space like that is really like powerful, and like it's a lot of pressure sometimes. But then if I just go with it and smile through it and have fun and just like really kind of be myself, it gets easier and easier every time. But I'm still nervous every time I go on stage, even if it's like not until the moment I'm about to walk on, I'm nervous every time.
Is there something you say to yourself to
Yes.
get you ready for that moment?
Yeah, I actually, where did I pick this up from? It might have been from you, Allie, actually. I grab my hula hoops and I kind of hold them and I do a little like hoop prayer where I just like hold them and I just thank, I thank my ancestors. I thank people that I know, the people that I don't know, and just people who've been part of my journey. And I hold them and then I go on. That's like my thing backstage.
So you actively create safer, more inclusive circus spaces, which we love, and you've been championing this. What did you notice that was missing that made you step into that role?
Ooh, okay, we're getting real now.
Take me into your world.
Well, I think it came down to all of the accessible spaces for circus in general, just like what was out there, who was running it, the accessibility in space, time and money, all that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, everything is owned by cis white men. And yeah, that was my huge epiphany. And there are not a lot of spaces in the city, period, for extracurricular like training or spaces, affordable spaces to either book time in. So I felt like there was this little bit of gap of like people who want to get in circus but don't know or don't have the opportunity to get into circus through these very professional avenues. And I didn't come through circus through a professional avenue. I came through underground, community, underground studio, shout out to Sideshow Studios, you know, like they were such a pillar in having a space for underground, like for the underground people. To do things in, which made that accessible to feel like, oh, I have a space to go. I have a safe space to train. I have a space where I can go not be perfect, because a lot of these professional spaces are intimidating. And like, I go to them and they're still intimidating. And I have all these feelings of like not being professional enough because I didn't go through school or was training since I was a kid, or like all these different things. But, you know, doesn't mean you're not a professional artist because you haven't done anything professional.
Yes. And since you were a kid.
And but like, how does that make you professional? Because you've done it for so long, because you were supported, because you were privileged, because of all these things. And it doesn't mean anything different. You know, some people who do things when they're younger don't do that now. So like, it could have been the difference for me too. But I think just creating spaces that people could see that, oh, I could go try. It's all about trying too.
Yeah.
And yes, all these professional spaces are great at and providing that and doing community jams and spaces, but some people just might not necessarily feel comfortable for that. And so I'm always looking at places and spaces to just make people feel comfortable and people feel like they have a place to go. And like it's tough to do stuff like that in this city. There hasn't been a studio like Sideshow Studios since.
Yeah.
And there have been many iterations who have tried, and it's just like one block from the other block, city stuff.
Yeah.
Government.
I mean, we could go on and on and on about arts and cultural spaces in Vancouver for any artist and how hard it is to start something and keep it going.
Yeah.
But I do hold that space dear in my heart because it is how we first met. And again, shout outs to Alley because at that time there was a lot of crossover with the street dance and the circus community.
Yeah.
Like I remember like a jam where it was like combining like a circus artist.
It was a prop battle jam.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh
I think it was
we
Yuki.
should bring that back,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah. And I think like Yuki did one a few years ago too. And I think Too Tall was there for that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he's like, it's trying, but this is my kind of like dream, and my thing is getting more dance community and circus community together, because there's this crossover that we don't know yet. There's this bridge that hasn't been built. Because we're all connected and we can all do the things, so we should all come together and do it together. So that's kind of like my thing of hopes and dreams and building is like having a space or having spaces available that those cross connections can come. And right now, like I'm working with Future Leisure, and we're really trying to kind of like create that third space and create that space where you can see all these different movement avenues all sharing the same space.
Tell us about Future Leisure.
Yeah, so Future Leisure runs right now 45 West Hastings and Golden Saucer. They've been in the community for a long time now, and it's just been really nice to see that they're still having space available. They do affordable spaces for artists to train in, to have regular space, and their spaces are used for many different things like roller skating, street dance, contemporary clowning, stilts. Like the space in itself is now being used for so many different avenues, and I want the community members to know each other. So now that we're getting these people in, now I want to like get people knowing each other. And right next to us at 45 West is April O'Peel's new spot, and she is well known within the burlesque community. And so now we have like burlesque neighbors. So now we've got burlesque, circus, dance, all within like the same building.
Very cool.
Yeah, so
How
it's been really
exciting.
cool just to kind of make those connections and, just community, people knowing each other, because you never know when burlesque needs a dancer needs burlesque, we're all the same thing, circus needs this, we need this, or we can all just make a really cool event together and do a prop battle. Because that was where it all kind of smushed together, dance battle, prop battle, same but different.
Yeah. As you've started teaching and mentoring next generation, what traditions or values feel important for you to pass on? And what parts of the culture are you ready to see evolve?
Oh, wow. For circus in general, I would for me, it's the femme culture and really pushing like POC, femme, non-binary energy, things that you don't necessarily see in commercialized atmosphere, either also within the corporate world. It's really important for me to let everyone know that everyone matters and everyone's look and there's a place for everyone anywhere. You just got to make it so. Like circus started underground. Circus started with the weirdos, Why are we can't be cutting those people out.
Yeah.
Like
owning their freakiness.
Owning your freakiness.
Yeah.
But then also being able, I guess, to like package it for everybody. And that's, that's the whole thing when you want to sell this thing for everyone, just being able to like package yourself and be able to make it moldable to everyone without losing yourself at the same time. Also just like community and accessibility, I think is the big one for me. And like what I want to teach people is just being able to like feel connected with your body, and especially like with like younger kids who don't necessarily have physical literacy or have opportunities to learn to play, to jump. You know, houses are getting smaller, rent's getting higher. So how are these kids or how are these other people going to be able to like learn all that? So it's either the young kids who don't know it or the adults who never had a chance. And we're all just people who want to move our body in silly ways. So it's kind of a little bit like we're kind of kids being adults, adults being kids. A little bit of both.
I love that. I love that. And anything that you feel are like, okay, this needs to stay behind in the old paradigm and we're ready to evolve.
Yeah, I would say the like connection of what makes you a professional artist is a big one.
Ooh, talk to us about that.
Well, you know, like a professional artist, did you go to school for it? Do you have a degree? Like, did you train since you were 5 years old? Not all those things, again, are accessible to people. And a lot of people feel that they're not professional enough because they don't have that backing. But you can make yourself professional enough by just being professional and training and being good and loving what you do. And there's no right or wrong way to become a professional artist. But it is funny how institutions make you put yourself in those boxes. And, you know, I use different grant programs and grant things, and there are different grant avenues that say that I'm a professional and some that say I'm not, based on my educational background.
Yeah, and based on what they have listed as their criterion
of being a professional. So it actually doesn't even matter what you've done, because whatever avenue, whatever you're applying for, whatever grant, whatever governmental institution or whatever not, they have their own look of what a valid professional is. So you can't appeal and appease everyone. So you just got to really like be within yourself. And another thing is being able to have your cake and eat it too. So, you know, I am a professional circus artist, but then I'm also professional in other avenues of my life, in event management and event production. That doesn't make me less of a professional circus artist. Respect and big ups to everyone who just does it full time. I like it to do it a little bit differently. And that's what I find worked in my life and my balance and what I love to do. And so that doesn't make me less than. And I think that's what I want to kind of change the narrative of is like, you're not less than someone else, you're just different. And everyone can have their cake and eat it too, just doing you.
Cut that part, make it viral, put it on the internet.
Okay.
I love that. All the children coming forward. This is your life advice. I love that. It's been so good chatting with you already so far. How would you say that your event management and production experience really like supports your role as an artist and vice versa?
Oh yeah, I see so much crossover and it has benefited me in so many ways, and I love it. And I think that's what also kind of keeps everything so fresh and new and energizing for me is, you know, on the event production side, knowing how events work, when you're an artist, you really see it, how it works, and you can step back and really resonate, have empathy for event producers and understand where they're coming from when they're asking for these things from you.
Yeah. I would encourage anyone who is a performer, if you do have like a little inclination towards understanding the back end of stuff, like volunteer, get some experience. It could only enhance what you also do as a performer.
And it's definitely got me connected with different people that I would have never thought of getting connected with, and just understanding their story or understanding how things work and being able to just like get absorbed in it all and learn. And like, you know, it's nice to do new things that you're not necessarily good at to start. And then when you like build on that, it just feels really good.
Yeah. Probably led you some performing opportunities too, no?
Yeah, it definitely has. Keep those in my back pocket for sure.
Yeah, that's it. You're like, not only am I great to work with, but I'm also great to work with. Rapid fire fun question. Don't overthink these questions. Just whatever's the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay, ready.
Okay. Your favorite performance to date?
For me, it's always Bass Coast.
Ooh.
I always love stilting at Base Coast.
Because?
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Everyone is just, the music is great, the people are great, and I just love making people feel good and bring that joyfulness. So a lot of like our stilt acts are either like eclectic or weird or like super fun and joyful. So I just like that is my favorite. Like the grounds are great to stilt on. There's like space. When we're doing it in the daytime, nighttime's a different thing. But but I would say for stilting is always Base Coast.
Fun.
It's my favorite.
Okay, hooping.
Hooping. I would say my haha stage act. That was probably, and I've done that a few times. The best stage that I've done that on is probably the Rio, when I first brought it to the city and I had it really dialed in, and it was at the Rio. The Rio stage is big and glorious, and I got great footage from it. So that one just really sticks out.
Love it. What art form outside of circus feeds you the most?
Dancing. Yeah, outside
Say that.
Dancing, I would say, like emotionally, mentally, physically. Like if I'm not doing circus, I'm moving my body in some way to either, keep your like nervous system down, to hyping yourself up. Like a lot of, for me, is moving my body. And if I'm not, I'm like fidgeting or I'm stimming or something like that. So it's all kind of there already.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just, dance.
Warm-up ritual you never skip.
Lying on the floor. Starfish first. Like whenever I get to any space, start a dance class, start anything, I literally just lay on the floor.
This is good.
To either like ground myself and to like level your back out. Because like if you're sitting all day or something, I just like want like my full back on the ground, lay in a starfish and wiggle around. That's like the first thing I do.
This is excellent.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. I'm going to do that. Most dramatic onstage save you've ever done? Had to be dramatic.
Oh, okay. Most dramatic
On stage save.
Okay. I did a fire hoop act.
Oh my gosh.
And I was trying to spin all of the wicks out as my finale, but this one wick would not go out. So I took the hula hoop and I like got inside of it and I put it on my forehead. So it was like a unicorn.
Yeah.
And then you would spin and then the fire would still be burning.
Yeah.
And then I grabbed it and then blew it out as the music stopped.
Okay, drama.
It was, and I have it on video. It was like perfect. It was great. And it all just kind of happened. Because I was like trying to knee hoop all of the fire out, being like, hey, it will go out now, but it wouldn't. So then I was like frustrated, did this thing, and then it worked out.
That's epic.
Yeah.
I definitely need to see that. Something that scares or excites you about this forthcoming chapter?
Imposter syndrome. That scares me a little bit. We all have it. But it's kind of like not getting that into my head. The more I do other things and the more I'm getting these opportunities to do other things or to step up in certain ways, I'm always just like, can I do it? Yes, I can do it. I totally can do it. But can I? But I've found recently that if I say, everything's going to be fine, it will be.
Yeah.
And I would just say it out loud. So that kind of helps me through that. But I would say, just beating that imposter syndrome for the next few chapters, just so that I can just do it.
That everything is fine. That's one of those haha moments for me where I'm like laughing, crying about it. But it's also this self-soothing moment of like, life ain't that serious. Like, it's really okay. Everything will be fine.
Everything will be fine. Every little fire will find a way to put out.
Do you feel part of a lineage? If so, who's in it?
Oh, a lineage?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I probably, if it comes through like circus and multi-hoop stuff, it would be the lineage of Ali Oop and Sideshow Studios.
Yep.
As my first hoop mentor, hoop friend, like community connecting person, I would say that I'm a lineage of her.
For 2026, Year of the Horse, who I'm stepping into or who I'm becoming is?
I think I am stepping more into myself and like more into like who I want to become the older I get, and who like, and kind of like who I want within my orbit, and being more like selective or not selective, or just kind of like more conscious about that. But I think I'm becoming more of a version of myself, an older version of myself, and trying to keep those younger parts that I like, but then moving through and kind of letting go of the things that I don't really need anymore.
I love this. I love that we're also going to be able to refer back to this video one day and you're able to look at this milestone moment.
I hope so.
Yes.
Especially those seeds that we planted about future things, future tours, people that like...
Future tours, people.
Future tours, you know, future shows, like all these things. And it's funny because I really go through life being like, okay, this is an idea, we'll plant it. Yes. Let's plant the seed. Like it doesn't hurt to plant something. You water it here and there and something might pop up, something might not. It might take a long time. It might take, not too long.
And the practice of life and detaching to the outcome, you know? Well, we've come to an hour. This has been wonderful. I feel like we did get the reunion catch up that I was wanting.
Me too.
And I'm so glad. It's so dope to hear about your experiences, your journey, your growth through all these different circus art forms, movement practices. I'm really grateful for you.
Thanks.
You also have one of the best and warmest smiles I know in Vancouver. Lights it up on a rainy day like today. I'll tell you that much. Shout outs to everybody who tuned in on the live stream, to everybody who's watching the replay. We appreciate you. Also, big shout outs to Jam and Cameron, who's also a mutual friend of Nancy's, who could join us today. If you are a creative, an artist, a musician, a dancer, a chef, I want to talk to more chefs, actually. Ooh. And you're based here in the city and would like to sit down with me and share your story, please scan this QR code that's going to pop up on the edited version of this video. Fill out the form. I will look it over, and who knows, this could be you having a cute chat and some later snacks with me.
Yum.
That's right. Also, lastly, shout outs to TELUS STORYHIVE for powering today's episode. I'm your host, Kazi. This is Nancy, aka Lola Loops. Big shout outs where they can find you.
Oh yeah, on the Instagram, Lola Loops with 2 underscores afterwards.
Not one, but 2.
2 underscores. And on the stage near you.
That's it. Thank you so much for watching. This is StoryHive on Location Vancouver with Beats, Eats, and more.